West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast. West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.
The River Thames, Big Ben, Nigel Farage, Boris Johnson, Keir Starmer, Margaret Thatcher, Babylon, the British Empire. Your guys took one hell of a beating. Santokie, West Indies are back.
Mash, Reform UK is down bad, you know. West Indies are back, you know. They took out England. They won by 30 runs, you know, a monumental win, you know, silenced a lot of critics. Obviously, we're not going to get too carried away as we're going through this episode. But Mash, this is another episode. You know, there's no Undertaker music. We're out here celebrating another episode of celebration. And who would have guessed that? 2 back-to-back celebration episodes in big 2026, you know?
We've never had it so good. Listen, Santokie, it's weird, right? It's weird because before, this will sound like hindsight, but I actually think both of us said this. In a weird way, I was always more, and I think I said it on the live call-in show on Monday, I was always more confident that we could win this game than the game against Nepal. Now, we might still go on to win the game against Nepal, but I kind of fancied our guys to at least. Do you get what I mean? Like, because we went into this one.
I swear you said we were going to get doppied by Italy out here.
Yeah. Hold on.
I'm a real Jamaican, you know. Man said, little man England, you know. These times.
No, but you know why? Because I almost trusted these guys to show up versus England. That doesn't guarantee that they'd win, but you know how it goes already, Santokie. Generally speaking, when it comes to the Babylon, we tend to show up more often than not, right? So I wasn't worried that they wouldn't try. No, try is the wrong word. I wasn't worried that they wouldn't be able to compete versus England. I was more worried about the banana skin games that might come in the group. And to be fair, Santokie, with this win, I'm not saying we're through, but we're 85% of the way there now into the next stage.
Yeah, we've got 1 foot into the Super 8s, and I agree, Mash. It's similar to how we've preserved our home Test record against England, despite us on paper being so much worse than England when it comes to Test cricket in recent years. It's something about playing England that makes the side. It's a mentality thing, right? It just everyone just steps up. You can see even today, like whether it be Moti, Holder, Shamar, Joseph, Rutherford, there was like an intensity, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's just because it's England or whatever it is, the history and everything just combined just adds that intensity, and that gives West Indies the added advantage. But yeah, first things first, Mash. I think we've got one. It's safe to say we've got 1 foot into the Super 8s because I find it very unlikely that we'll lose to Italy. I'm taking that as likely that we'll win. Nepal could go either way, but even if we lose to Nepal, if we beat Italy, we should be through generally because Nepal
our run rate is so good already. Because let's not get this twisted as well. The wins, if people were like, the Scotland wins just because Scotland are an associate, where we said that was a comprehensive win by 35 runs, we've just beaten England by 30 something runs as well. That's 30 something run victories in T20s are as comprehensive. Obviously, you can get more comprehensive victories, but those are comprehensive victories, right? Once we put the squeeze on, England never recovered from being able to maybe come back into the game. But actually, Santokie, before we dissect the game, and obviously this is a Patreon special, so if you're watching this on YouTube, you best look at the clock because your time's ticking before we log before we say that you've got no more minutes to watch on the show. Let me tell you an anecdote, Santokie. Just before we went live, about an hour before we went live, I put a comment in one of my group chats where I said, I think people, so this is paraphrasing, but I basically said the same energy people have when they say Sammy's to blame for every single time we lose a match. Maybe we should say, well done, Sammy, when we win a match. I knew what I was doing. I was starting fires because within seconds of me saying that, I had people going, no, this is nothing to do with Sammy. It's Shafee and Rutherford. It's Gudakesh Moti. They're the reason why we won. Nothing to do with Sammy. Sammy's no good. He's just lucky. Santokie, why do you think some people in the Caribbean find it so hard to just say well done and give the man praise? Like, is he such a divisive figure to some people that he literally, even when we win, he can't do nothing good?
You know what? Yeah, firstly, I think, we got so excited, Mash. We forgot to say at the front, thank you for all our Patreon subscribers. This is a Patreon episode. The emotions got to us so much, we forgot about our business out. So thank you for all our Patreon subscribers. Obviously, if you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe to our Patreon if you want to see the full episode. But Mash, I think it all boils down to 2016, Mash. That's the only logic. I think a large contingent of fans, West Indies fans, just have taken it to heart about what Sammy did in 2016, spoke against the administration, sort of led this sort of mercenary generation, and they've sort of seen it as unforgivable, because he's done a decent job for a West Indies head coach, right? If you compare it to like a Phil Simmons, for instance, there's not like there's a massive difference. So for him to get a cuss out like he does and not really get any praise, there has to be some sort of historical grudge against him. And I think it's partly down to that. And it's interesting because in the pre-match press conference, Darren Sammy alluded to the fact that there are some issues behind the scenes. But he didn't say what. And it's obviously aimed at the administration. So, boy, whatever happens in this World Cup, we might get a 10-year anniversary cuss out from Sammy, you know. So I think that's just Sammy's personality. He's very like, he doesn't care about authority too much. He's willing to speak up against them. And I think in West Indian culture, people see that as, this guy's getting too big for his boots. And that is particularly why we don't want to give him praise. But we have to give him praise. He did it in 2024, got us through the group stage when we had New Zealand and Afghanistan.
And people like me were like, we're not even making it out the group. Do you know what I mean? And you and I said before this tournament that Sammy should be judged on this tournament. We've been saying for the longest while, even when in summer 2025, when Australia gave us a 5-0, England gave us a 3-0, Pakistan beat us, etc. When we're taking all the T20 Ls, you and I said ultimately though these Ls suck, but he has to be judged based on the World Cup, because the whole point of T20 cricket, take away the bilateral friendlies. Yes, you can say they matter, but you are fundamentally judged on what happens at the World Cup, right? And we're saying at the time of recording, we've got 1 foot already in the Super 8s. That doesn't mean he's overachieved, but he has already, essentially in my book, cleared the initial hurdle, which was get us out this group and make sure we aren't some little man come the end of the tournament. So, and that's not for me to say all hail Darren Sammy, not at all. But we can give Jack his jacket. We're allowed to be like, okay, well done. 2 from 2. Like, we're doing okay here.
Yeah, exactly. It's okay to be happy. Like you said, we can't get too excited to say we're going to win the World Cup, right? But he's done the first objective. I mean, the very first objective was to not get embarrassed by Scotland. Now we've beaten England, who a lot of people would consider favourites for this tournament, just because of the batting firepower they have. And we're almost in the Super 8s. If we get to the Super 8s, who knows what could happen from there? So we have to give praise. And also in the context, Mash, of this West Indies squad, losing Nicholas Pooran, losing Dre Ross, not many people giving us hope. Sammy, what he's managed to do, and you can see the team is very together. He's managed to galvanize them, which is, to his credit, has always been one of his strengths, right? He's a people manager, right? More so than a tactician or anything like that. I know he talks a lot about data, but from my perspective, as a fan or as an analyst, his skill is being able to, work with people's personalities and gel people together, regardless of their different cultures, backgrounds, race. And that's fundamentally his big strength. And he's managed to do that with this team as well.
We should also say that he put his reputation on the line, because in the build up to the start of the tournament, he's going out there going, we can do something special in this World Cup. I see something in these guys. I think we're going to shock a few people, and enough people, technically ourselves included, were going, boy, that's a big thing for Sammy to be saying. Like, he ain't even really got the results to be moving bossy like that and saying that he's got something special in the camp. But 2 from 2, like I say, most pessimistic or average West Indian fans were like, boy, Scotland might catch us, England will definitely beat us, so on and so forth. And like I say, we could still take a defeat from Nepal, because Nepal will be tricky, but we're not expecting no defeat versus Italy for certain. So a man, ultimately a head coach, right, a head coach can only be judged in international cricket, really and truly, on what they do in the big competitions. That's the whole point of international cricket. Whether that be an ODI World Cup, whether that be a T20 World Cup, whether that be World Test Championship, they can only really be judged on those things. So we take the 2 from 2. and we keep it moving. Before we say goodbye to the patrons, let's give them a little. Sorry, not the patrons. Before we say goodbye to the YouTube fans who haven't become patrons, let's just give them a little piece of game analysis. They dropped Ford for Chase.
Yeah.
And Thanos came through for us, Santokie.
Yeah.
30, I think it was 35 from 29 balls coming in after the collapse. You and I spoke before the tournament about how do we utilize Roston Chase with the bat. He got a situation where we had to utilize him. 2 wickets down in the first 8 balls. First in comes Hetmeyer, then comes Roston Chase to play the anchor role for everybody else to kind of play around him. And then with the ball, he did exactly what we said he's in the team to do. Bowl is 4 overs, 2 for 29. I'm not going to say anything like Chase shut a lot of people up, but he certainly gave a justification for why he's critical in this format of cricket in the West Indies setup.
Yeah, he's sort of like, what's it, like a jack of all trades, because he can do it with the bat and ball on his day. As you said, we talked about, as much as there's a lot of firepower in the side, Chase is there for a scenario where we lose early wickets, and that's exactly what happened today. So him coming in, if you looked at the scorecard and thought, he's a match losing innings almost, 34 of 29, but it's essentially what West Indies needed at that time, right? Because Hetmeyer was coming in, he was firing off. They just needed someone to last around and hang around. So he served his role in that degree. And then, like you said, with the ball, getting the big wicket of Just Butler was massive. And then towards the end, I think it was LBW of Will Jacks as well. So 2 top order wickets was priceless for West Indies. And if you compare that to as good a player as Matthew Ford is, he wouldn't have been as effective with both the bat and ball for us in that game, and that would probably have swung the game in England's favour, right? Because Chase was critical for us winning today. So again, as much as there's been a cuss out of Chase, namely for what his performances in Test cricket, we have to praise Chase for this game. It was a good job for Roston Chase. Held it down for us with the bat and the ball, and essentially helped us get over the finish line against England. So, like you said, as we talk with all West Indies players, it's a matter of consistency with Chase, right? It's whether he can build upon that. But in isolation, we have to celebrate, as much as we'll celebrate Sammy, then we have to celebrate Chase as well, Mash.
100%. And at that point, people, if you are a YouTube listener, we just gave you 12 minutes. A man messaged me the other day saying, give us all the freeness. We just gave you 12 minutes. The patrons are about to get the remaining 12 to 15 minutes. If you want that as well, then boy, you best become a patron, innit? So thank you to all the YouTube subscribers. But now this next part is purely for the patrons.